Hi, it's Oa and welcome back to my channel for another video. And today I am going to be sharing with you guys some back to school bullet journal pages inspiration. I decided to share some of the pages that I think might help you if you are starting school or if you already are a student and maybe are looking into starting a bullet journal to help you with your schoolwork. So I'm going to be using this dingbat notebook for this video. If you want to get one for yourself, you can use code OA10 to get 10% off yours, and the link is also in the description box down below. For my supplies, I'm going to be using some black pens. These are the two that I use. And I'm also going to be using 3 colors, which are the Tumble Dual Brush Markers. I decided on a yellow, a pink, and a blue for this setup to have really summery pages. And then I used the same colors in my Papermate ink joy pens for some writing, as I'm also going to be sharing how you can use these pages and giving some examples. I will also be leaving timestamps in the description box down below if there's a specific page that you are looking for. And I will also have a flip through of all of the completed pages at the end of this video. So for my first page, I'm going to be sharing a class schedule, which is a pretty basic page that you will find in most bullet journals for students, but I feel like it's one of the most essentials, so I just wanted to share one so you can see one. And then the other pages aren't as normal and used, so maybe you will find some new things if you already have watched multiple videos before. But this one is a classic. I basically have a box that is separated into 5 even spaces for the 5 days of the week, and then I have the hours ranging from 7 a.m. in the morning at the top to 8 p.m. at the bottom, and I also have a key at the bottom, which I will share later how you can use. And basically you can just have a space for each day, and then I have a little 1-dot grid tool header at the top for which day it is, and then I just added the title, which is just class schedule. I wanted to keep these pages as minimal as possible so they can be made by anyone and they can be easy to recreate. So this one is just pretty plain and simple. So now the page is completed, and I wanted to show you guys how you can actually use this page as kind of an example. So it is a class schedule, and I already filled in and made a key, which my way of using it is doing a color code system and using a color per class. My color scheme for this theme being those 3 colors, I'm gonna use 3 example classes and just use these 3 colors to fill in the key. So I have English, French, and biology. So I'm gonna do English, French, and biology for the colors, and then I'm just gonna use these colors to make block for when classes would be using the hours. This is obviously a hypothetical one, but I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to use. So we have yellow for English, blue for French, and then pink for biology, and then let's say we would have biology from 10 a.m. to 11:30. This is what it would look like. We would just have the block colored in, and you could also add like what class it is, like the number for the room, or exactly what time. You can add any details inside of it. I'm not gonna do it since it's hypothetical classes, but I'm just gonna fill this in and this next page is going to be a monthly overview or a monthly dashboard, depending on how you want to call it. Basically, it is a 2-page spread to have everything about your month in one page. It's kind of like including all of the typical things that you would find in a monthly setup, but combining them into one page to have everything at one glance. I started by making an appointment scheduler. Basically, I just have a box with a 1 dot grid wide line on the left side for the days of the month. It is 30 dot grid spaces tall for the month of September, and it's used to put all of your appointments. And now I'm making the calendar for the month, which is just a basic calendar. The grid is 4x4 dot grid spaces for each day with a 2 tall header at the top. And then I'm making a habits tracker at the bottom. I made 3, but you could have space for 4 if you wanted to. And I basically just have them being 7 dot grid spaces wide, and then as many tall as there is a week in the month, which is 5 if I'm not mistaken for September. And then I just assigned all 3 of them a color, since I had 3 colors for this theme. And I ended this page with a do this week section next to the calendar, and I basically drew a line just right next to the calendar following the weeks, so you can have what is due for each week of the month if there's really big things due, or if you are waiting until you make your weekly spreads, you can have them in one place. And then the last thing I did was to add a title to this page. So now the dashboard is done, and I'm just gonna fill it in. I have a spot for appointments first. I also have like a calendar for any events or anything special during the week or month. And then I have the habits tracker, which I will put some habits, and then for due this week for any tests or homework that needs to be done for that week, so you can have a reminder. If you haven't made weekly spreads, you can put them here and then wait to transfer them over to another page. So for the appointments, let's say we have to go to the dentist on the 4th of September, so I'm just gonna write that down. So we have the appointment, and then I'm just gonna put 3 habits. You could put a 4th one if you put up less space in between them, but I just thought 3 were good. We can have like make my bed like every day. Go on a walk and read 10 pages. And then for the calendar, I'm going to be using the Papermate ink joy pens to write with the color codes for the classes. Let's say that there's a biology class that is canceled. I can just write it in the corresponding color, and then maybe there's a change in hour for this one, which is a French class, and it is now at 10 a.m. so you can write down any of those. And then maybe we have a test on the first week, which is in English for chapter 1. Moving on, I'm going to be sharing a time tracker, which is basically all the typical trackers like a study tracker, a sleep tracker, or any of those combined into one tracker that tracks all of your activities on a 24-hour clock. I basically have the tracker. It is 30 days tall, or 30 dot grid spaces tall for the month, and then on the top axis I have enough space to have the 24 hours in the day. You can start with any hours that you want. I personally started with 8 p.m. and then 7 p.m. on the next day at the end. It's a little confusing. You will understand better when I show an example on how it can be used. And then I basically just added a key and then the title, and it's a really simple and quick page to make, but it can really help you see how you actually use your time. So to use the time tracker, I'm going to be using another color code, and this time I have sleep, read, and study. You can basically track any activity that you do. If you have like any other activities, if you play a sport and you have like training hours, you can add that. Really anything you want. I just use 3 that are kind of basic basically, and then I'm just gonna add a color to each. And then for each day we have from 8 p.m. all the way to 7 p.m. the next day, so it is a 24-hour clock. So you can add all of your activities throughout the day. I'm gonna start with the sleep. So let's say you went to bed at 10:30, you can start in between the 10th and the 11th, and then you slept until 7, and then you just have your line of sleep. And then you could also add like when you're in class if you want to, but maybe then you studied from 9 to 12, you took a little break and then you read for an hour, and then maybe you studied like throughout the evening. So that's how you would use this tracker. I unfortunately had a problem with my memory card. It stopped working and I lost some footage, but hopefully you can still get what it looks like, and hopefully everything still makes sense. And now we will be moving on to the study log for this next page. This one is a little, it's really easy to make, and it will make sense when I explain how you can use it, but basically it is a place where you can kind of journal about what you studied, so you can keep a track and a record of what you studied, especially during exam seasons or when you have like a really busy schedule and you need to know when was the last time you studied a subject. So basically on the left side I have a dot grid wide for the days of the month, and then 3 dot grid spaces wide for my classes, since I had 3 in this example. And then the rest of the page is basically just for journaling about all of the things that you have studied, and then I just added a really simple and minimalist lettering, which is a really easy one to do. Basically all the downstrokes and upstrokes are doubled, so it's a really easy one to make. So for the study log, the way I made it, basically have the column here, which is to write down all of the classes that you have, and then you have all of the dates for the month, and then you have the whole page to write notes about what you studied, and it's basically to have a memory log of everything that you've studied. If you have like a list of things that you need to study, and then you can say like, you can look back and see when you studied what. So basically in this column you can add a dot on what day it was and what class it was that you studied, and then you can add like a couple words about what you studied. So I'm just gonna write down a couple examples for you guys. So for this example, I've put that on the first. I worked on biology, and then I'm just gonna come up with something that I could have studied. So let's say answer questions chapter 1, and that's what I studied for that day. I'm gonna write a couple more examples really quickly. So moving on to my next page, and this one is a reading assignment list or log or whatever you want to call it. It's basically a big table where you can list all of your reading assignments so you can track all of them. This might be more towards college students if you have a lot of readings, but if you also have readings in high school, it can be used as well. And the good thing with this is you could actually have one for each classes if you have really heavy reading loads. And basically I just have a table that takes the whole width of the page, and I just have a few dot grid spaces at the top left for the title, and then I have a column for the subject, which is 5 dot grid spaces wide, a description, so what the assignment is, and then a due date column and a done column, so you can keep track of everything. So for this reading assignment table, I have the first column for the subject, then the description or title of the book or whatever the assignment is, and then the due date, and if it is done. You could also add a another column for if it's started. There's obviously many possibilities of how you can arrange different columns, and I'm gonna use the color code to add to the subject section, and then I'm just gonna fill it in so you can see what it looks like. So for my examples, I just added with the color coding system under the subject tag the first 3 letters of the class, and then the right color, and then in the description for the first one I wrote read 20 pages of a book in English, and then the due date, and then that it was done, and then I just repeated that over for a few more examples. Now I'm going to be sharing a page that I've already shared on my channel, but not in a studious way before. It is my content planner for YouTube, actually, that I rearranged to be an essay planner, and basically it is just a huge table that has a lot of columns, and then you have lines that are 2.grid spaces wide to add in all of your assignments, and you can just write all of them in the table. And you have the first category for your subject, and then what the assignment is. The third one is for the due date, and then you have 2 wide little squares for all of the different tasks that writing an essay takes. So you can obviously customize it, but it makes it a little bit easier to keep track of where you are if you have different essays due at the same time. And then I just colored in inside the title at the tops with some yellow, and I wrote with the same kind of easy font at the top too for the title. So now we have an essay planner, and I actually rearranged my YouTube version of a video planner with all the steps to complete a video into an essay planner. And basically I have the first column for subject, assignment, and then due date, and then all the steps to complete the assignment. Obviously, if you have different steps, you can change these up, but I have a research plan, first draft, write the entire paper, and then proofread, and then send. And then now I'm just gonna write down some example for you guys. So we are now onto my last page, and it is technically not the last page that I made. You can see it in this little clip because I actually had to cut out one page, which was a rolling to-do list, because this video was going to be 30 minutes long if I didn't, and it's already really long. So the final page is going to be a monthly budget, which I think is an essential for any student to keep track of expenses. The way I made this, you have the 5 columns for the 5 weeks of the month. Usually you have 4, but if you have a month that actually have 5 weeks, you have enough for that. And then the first 2 lines are 2 doggerel spaces wide, and they are for the balance and income. And then the bigger box in the middle, it has 4 grid spaces wide by 3 tall per section, and you basically just have all of these spaces to write down all of your expenses. I will explain a little bit better how it works later on. And then you have a final line for the total and the title at the top, which I just wrote in simple calligraphy using the brush pens, but I kept it really simple and easy. So for my monthly budget, I'm not actually going to do an example on how to use it because it would be a little more complicated than the other ones, but basically I have a 5-week system in case there's a week, a month with 5 weeks, so you have all the space you need. And then the first column and the second are separate from the main because it is the balance at the start of the week. And then if you have any income, it can go underneath here. And then in the red is everything that you spent, or like where your money goes, with food, clothes, essentials, subscriptions, others, and savings. Obviously this can be customized to your needs. Maybe you don't need clothes, but you need like another category. Those are just the ones I thought of. And you can just fill it for the week and then have your total and then keep track. I would also have like in the notes, maybe put like the total of the month. That's the only thing I didn't add, and that might be useful, but if the total for the week is enough for you, then you can just use it as it is. So this is already the end of this video. You will see the missing page in the flip through if you are interested. Really sorry that I couldn't include it. I didn't think this video would be so long, but I hope you enjoyed and that it gave you some ideas out of many other videos, that you would find something that you can use to make your student experience better this year. Don't hesitate to tell me in the comments if you found anything useful, or if you have any other pages that you found helpful and that I could include in a future video. Until then, don't forget to check out all of my socials in the description box down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!